the previous time, we defined the concept of interval as the distance in pitch between two notes. This is what we defined the interval as. And right now, you could be asking yourself, as honestly I would be doing, why does it mean something to us to insist so much on these intervals and the interval concept? The reason is quite simple, and it's because the musical interval is nothing but the relationship between two notes, a correlation in terms of height, which means that to go deeper into the concept of interval allows us to understand and to explain better the general concept that we can find between or in the context of the relationship between one or more notes, two or more notes, sorry. This is the importance of the interval, which is a way of defining a relation between two different distinct notes. So not the same note, but different notes, different in their height. Of course, this, as we have already said, when we were discussing tonalities and scales, notes don't really have an absolute value, but their value exists as long as they're taken in comparison with another note, different note. Which also means that it will be extremely important to be able to give a name to each type of interval, to be able to tell them apart. We could say, since these intervals are so important to understand the relationship between notes and to understand the difference between notes. But before we get to that, before we do that, when discussing intervals, we have to separate two cases, two different cases. Let's imagine we have two notes, the E and the C. These two notes have, of course, a different pitch. The E is lower and the C is higher. So there is an interval between these two notes. So at this point, in this case, these two notes are played in succession. The E before the C. So, of course, there is an interval between these notes because they have a difference in pitch. This is the first of the two cases we are describing today. Let's imagine we have a second case where E and C, instead of being played in succession one after the other, are played simultaneously, like so. E and C are played and heard at the same time. Again, in the second case, the notes will have a difference in pitch. So we can also say there is an interval. But what kind of interval, we will see. But we have to explain the difference between these two instances. In the first case, the case where the E and the C are played in succession, different times, I mean one after the other, we use the term melodic interval. While in the second case, when the two tones of C and E are played simultaneously at the same time, we will be referring to the term harmonic interval.